Thank you, baby. Anderson, what's for breakfast? What are we eating? What are we eating? Are we eating oatmeal? Can you say oatmeal? Can you say oatmeal? Yes, oatmeal! It is a glorious, gloomy day, and we have already had quite the productive morning. We are headed out to the grocery store now, and then, hopefully, when I get home, to some reading, some writing, some planning out. Yes, and snacks, because snacks are very important. So I know that the afternoon is going to be busy because I'm actually making 2 meals. I'm making 1 meal for us and then 1 meal for a friend who is sick. So I have to cart that out to them, hopefully get it pretty early to them for supper, and then be back home to feed us. Yes, he will be by then. So come along with us. Let's see how I'm doing in the world building and how the mommy author life is going.
But I'm so glad I came out here. Just be able to walk outside in the quiet. It's like one of the best things that I have ever found to do, to just get the creative juices going and to be thinking about stories and for plot ideas and for aesthetics and plot holes and all of the things. It's actually been really nice because even though I'm right in the middle of world building and history and magic systems, which I'll talk about in a minute, because I did kind of want to rant about that for a minute and explain what I'm doing. But I've been having all these ideas for characters and for plot lines that, like, kind of combining some of my old ideas that were a myriad of ideas before that now maybe I can kind of combine and shrink down to a smaller number of ideas. So there's a couple of characters I think I can actually get rid of, um, and use existing characters to perform the tasks that they were going to be doing in the story. That would give the existing characters more agency, but also that means that some of the relationships are going to change. Different people are going to be paired up in romantic relationships. You have different dynamics between friends and family members, as different ones become more important and others are completely removed from the picture. It's really exciting, but I am freezing, so now I'm going to turn around and head home. Okay, please bear with me with the fuzziness of this video quality. The selfie mode on this is not quite correct. So this is the part of the video where I attempted to explain what I'm writing and what I'm working on in a non-spoilery slash inspiring kind of way. Real quick recap, I've already completed the majority of geography and topography, even though I'm going to be working on that all the way up till outlining. I had thought I had finished my magic systems, my magical creatures, my fantasy races, and I've been working on history. That's like the big chunk that I'm on right now. And that's kind of sort of what you've seen. The problem is I keep going back to the magic systems. I realized a few months ago, was it months ago or weeks ago? It was back in 2021. But I realized that I was actually missing a few elements of my magic system. And then I realized that I was missing entire systems within my magic system. And I had no explanation for them. So I have been going through, and as I do history, I keep going back to, well, where's the magic in all of this? Because I wanted the history to be relatable enough to actual world history that it felt logical and well thought out, and like everything made sense in the progression of how civilizations change and move and so on and so forth. But I also want it to be strongly based in magic. So all of the things that would normally happen would either have natural reasons, like natural disasters and stuff, or they would have magical reasons. I wanted magic to really permeate the whole world and kind of be a reason of why some of the things happen that do. So I've had to go back through the history of magic itself, and I've had to really think through all of the different elements of my magic, all of the different ways in which it can be used, all of the different variations of it, and the sources of the magic, because there's more than one, how it manifests, and how people have used it. It's truly fascinating to think about how each culture could be completely changed by magic. The progression of the history, it's coming along. I've got the majority of my ancient civilization taken care of. I'm moving kind of more into like a Middle Ages type era, like not necessarily as far as like, castles and knights and stuff, but more along the line of, discovery and invention and stuff. Like that's kind of sort of where we're at, and we're headed into definitely a Dark Ages slash Ice Age kind of thing going on, which is gonna be really exciting. And then after that, I have a couple thousand more years worth of history that I have the majority of the events for. But now, again, I'm going back through it. I'm filtering through events, and I'm filtering through things. I'm adding back in the magic. So that it's not just, oh, so and so and so and so went to war over trade routes. But it's, oh, well, this is what they were trading, and this is why it was a problem, and here's what was really going on underneath all of what you see. I have variations on all kinds of different dark magic orders and cults, if you will, that have been infiltrating governments and religion and moving through civilizations and all kinds of stuff. And you have like the good guys and the bad guys, and you have all the different variations of magic in between, and you have, just all the cool things. So I've been loving it. I've been loving it. I think that I'm going to take a little mini break from typing in Campfire. Campfire has been phenomenal to work in. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I just love working within that file, within that program. It helps me to keep everything so nicely organized in a way that I've never done before. Like, I've tried Scrivener a few times, and I think I like it for drafting, but not really for like world building and for a series Bible. This was the first thing that I felt like was actually a digital series Bible. I know a friend of mine uses World Anvil and is going to be using that to kind of like actually make her work in world building public eventually, so that people can go in and kind of learn about the world of her series either as they're reading them or after they've read them. But I'm not sure if I want to be learning that much technology. I am not particularly tech savvy, so I think I kind of want to stick with just this. This is so super simple and so easy to navigate. So right now I have, like I said, I've moved most of ancient history, but then I just discovered a new magic system that I'm going to have to go back to ancient history again, because I have to start there, and then it doesn't show up again for a while, and then all of a sudden it's going to pop up and it's going to wreak havoc and it's going to be awesome, and then we're really not going to see it again, I don't think. I don't want to do the whole ancient magical evil rediscovered and kind of takes over.
I want it to be kind of a thing that like nobody does it anymore for a reason. They found more efficient ways of doing what they want, and I want that to be more like the evil magic side. Is the more efficient ways of doing things that don't carry as many risks, which I think is gonna be really cool because it brings magic up to more of like a science level. Not like up, but like it if science is over here and magic is over here, this kind of brings them together a little bit more. Also, can we just appreciate this beautiful book that my friend got me in this notebook that uses the lines of the actual novel for the lines of the notebook? This is my official author journal. I've been journaling through my writing journey and throwing in notes here that I want to remember later on. I actually, this sounds silly. Something that has been kind of cool as I've been like going through and figuring things out is I haven't really been naming a lot of things because I just don't want to deal with that right now. I need to figure it all out first, and then I'll go through and name, and I'll put in the people and the places once I figure all that crap out. Because language is going to be its own thing. But I occasionally will come across a name or a word where I'm like, oh, I really want this to be a thing. And this morning I was reading the Old Testament because I've been reading through the Old Testament for 2022. And I came across in Genesis, there's a whole section about, and it talks about all of these kings who went to war against each other. And then Abraham, or Abram as he was called then, was kind of caught in the middle and ended up going to war to save his son, or his not his son, his nephew. Which, if you didn't know that story was in the Bible, go look it up. Genesis 14. It's a really cool story. It's very short. We didn't get many details, but it's very short. But there was all these names of these kings, and there was like a handful of the names, and I was like, ooh, oh, I want to use those. Is that like sacrilegious? I don't know, but some of them just sounded very similar to the Naiad language, which I have Naiads in the story. If you couldn't tell from all the stuff that I have, again, I don't know if this counts as spoilery. I don't think so. But the Naiadic language, or the original Naiadic languages, is based off of parts of Hebrew, the Hebrew language, and parts of Aramaic, and parts of some of the Arabic languages, and even a little bit of Hindi. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to be able to like even do little things like that. Like when I find little words, I write them down in my journal and then I have them for later. So right now, I am going to go back. I already said that, I think. At the moment, I was planning on making myself like a hot drink and then sitting down and handwriting some notes to just try and figure things out. But we're out of propane, and my husband doesn't come back probably for another half hour with the propane, so I can't make a hot drink. So I think instead, I'm just going to turn my music back on, sit down and write some more, and just kind of figure out what this timeline looks like now that I have this involved. Although I'll probably just pull up the computer as well and kind of do them side by side while the computer battery lasts. I don't have any outlets right here, which is really frustrating. I am really excited about how this is going. I'm going to do a video, more of like a how-to video, hopefully next month, and kind of break down what my process has been to write out this history. I tried to do that video last year, like in October and November. 2 or 3 times I tried to sit down and talk through my process, but I was still in the middle of figuring out my process, and it still felt incredibly overwhelming. But now that I'm on the other side of it, and I'm kind of like, I'm still fitting things in, but the process itself is a little bit more figured out. I think I'm going to talk about that and break down how I'm doing it, and what resources I'm using, which is mostly my own imagination at this point. And then maybe some of the books that I'm going to be reading this year as part of research for writing my history and for getting a little bit more in depth into some of the individual threads that I'm going to be using later on to influence the external plot of my books. I have a handful of historical narratives that I want to read, biographies and historical narratives that I want to read, that hopefully will give me more insight into very specific times that I am drawing inspiration from, and specific lives of people who lived in either times that I'm interested in researching, or who were in positions in whether it be a court or the military or medicine or whatever that I want to look at and research. So yeah, that video should be coming next, unless I decide to do something else, but that'll probably be my next one, because that's where I'm at right now. So I'm going to go do that now. I'm going to go do that because I have about 15 minutes before I really want to wind down for the night. I've been trying really hard to turn off all electronics at 10 and then just kind of wind down and do some reading, or maybe some light journaling or something before bed. And then getting to bed, lights off by 10:30. It sounds silly, but like we've been staying up till like midnight some nights. A lot of nights, a lot more nights than I would like to admit. We have been up until midnight, and there was actually like 1 or 2 weeks around Christmas where we were up until 1 to 2 in the morning. A lot of nights. So moving it back down to 10:30, and then hopefully eventually someday moving it maybe even farther back. I don't know. I like my night writing hours. Any other night owls in there? Night writing addicts. So yeah, I'm going to go now. I'm going to go and use my precious writing time. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of the weekend writing. I hope that your projects are coming along and that you're figuring out your processes too. Thank you so much for stopping by, watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing on the way out so you can see all of my new content as I go deeper into world building and into fantasy series and writing a series and what it looks like and the things that I'm doing and the resources that I'm finding. I love you all, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!